Good afternoon. We begin with developing news that is affecting transit this noon hour.
Up Express service is suspended due to what we're told is a disabled train near Union Station. Now, this is a live look from the CTV News chopper. Metrolink says GO train commuters going through Union may see significant delays. The issue was first reported shortly after the start of service this morning. Repair personnel are working on the issue, but the transit agency has not provided a timeline for when regular service will resume. Metrolink is encouraging commuters to take the TTC in the meantime. Express bus service is running between Union Station and Pearson.
To other news now. He was once one of the most powerful men in Canadian business, and now he's in a Toronto courthouse awaiting the start of his sexual assault trial.
Frank Stronach will soon face some of the allegations leveled against him by several women. CTV's Jon Woodward has been at the courthouse this morning and joins us with more details. John.
Nathan, Frank Stronach arrived early this morning with his lawyers and entered a closed courtroom as lawyers continue to wrangle over the final legal details before the courtroom is expected to open later this week. So for Stronach, who has been one of Canada's richest men, the head of Auto Parts International, Magna Canada, and a well-known philanthropist, this has been a long time coming. For some of these complainants, these allegations date from as far back as 1977. Some of them long ago that the charge of sexual assault didn't actually exist. This set of charges that we're seeing today has been split from the total 18 counts from 13 women. The remainder expected to happen in Newmarket in the coming days. Here to support some of the women was a woman who has spoken publicly about an experience she had with Frank Stronach as an intern, as a 19-year-old intern. She says she's here to support the women and said she hadn't seen Stronach before today for decades.
It was very odd seeing him shuffling by. He was such a dynamic and forceful presence when I was a student. You know, he was the star of Magna, and now he's a little old man.
Stronach's lawyers have said they plan to fight these allegations as well as the allegations in a civil suit that is just launched by that woman, Jane Boone. The company has also started an allegation into what happened there, and we have just been told that that investigation is ongoing. The courtroom may open later today, we are told, so we'll stay on it. Reporting live from 361 University, I'm Jon Woodward. Back to you.
All right, keep us posted. Thank you, John. Now it's time to take our first look at the forecast, and there's a lovely live shot of our city. Definitely you can tell it's cold out there still, but not as cold as it's been, and we have beautiful sunshine on this very first Monday of an all-new month of February. Let's bring in Lindsay Morrison. She's back with us to give us hopefully some good news, Lindsay.
I hope so, Michelle. I don't know about you, but I actually felt a little bit of warmth off the sun this past weekend. That's a good thing. It is, of course, still cold. It's -8 degrees this hour at Toronto Pearson. Wind chill -12. And our temperature is going to rise today in the right direction, so improvements overall throughout the rest of this week, temperature-wise, but we're not completely finished with the cold weather. Part of the change today is a southwesterly wind. It's pretty light. I'll step aside so you can see the burst of flurries that could impact us as we make our way more so into the evening hours today, but we're going to enjoy the sunshine until then. It is nice to have it. Here's today at a glance. Our forecast high, -5 degrees, which is going to feel more like -10 through the afternoon. So do bundle up, but don't forget the sunglasses. Hey, happy Groundhog Day. And we have some news from earlier this morning. Wyerton Willie predicting an early spring. Does our forecast look the same? We're going to take you through what you can expect for this first week of February, at least, coming up. But for now, Michelle, I'm going to send it back to you.
My money's on Wyerton. Thank you, Lindsay. To other news now, a woman in her 20s is in hospital with life-threatening injuries following a crash in Brampton. Peel paramedics say they were called to Kennedy Road north of Queen Street just before 1 this morning. They say a car crashed into an electrical pole and another vehicle. The woman was rushed to a trauma center. This investigation is ongoing.
And crews are working to repair a gas line in Vaughan after it was damaged in a car crash. York Regional Police say the crash happened around 11:30 last night at Rutherford and Weston Road. There were only minor injuries reported, but one of the vehicles went off the road and hit a pole. The other hit a gas line in a plaza.
Police are investigating after shots were fired at a home in Vaughan. It happened around 8:30 this morning on Allison Ann Way near Major Mackenzie and Bathurst. Police say no one was injured. Police responded to 3 similar shootings at the same home in the fall of last year.
The information we had is that a dark-colored SUV had attended the scene, and a male suspect wearing a dark hoodie had fired multiple rounds at a residence. This vehicle was then seen fleeing eastbound on Queen Philomena Boulevard. Now, at the time, the residence was occupied, but fortunately, there were no injuries that have been reported. It's obviously very concerning for the people in the neighborhood, as this is the 4th time since September that this residence has been targeted. Even more concerning is since the time of the last shooting here, new people have moved in.
To Mississauga next, where police are investigating an overnight arson.
It happened at an auto body shop. CTV's John Musselman is live near the scene with the very latest on this. John.
Well, Nathan, police say they got the call around 5:41 a.m. This auto body shop is located near Matheson and Dixie. We'll show you some video taken this morning. Now, when Peel Police got the call, fire responded as well. They were able to put this fire out fairly quickly. They are investigating the cause here. They're looking at surveillance video from a number of the buildings nearby. Right now, they're not calling it an arson. They're just saying that they're investigating the cause of this fire. That was the latest information we've gotten from Peel Regional Police. No injuries were reported, but if anyone has any information about this fire or knows anything, they're asked to call Peel Regional Police. Reporting live from near the scene, I'm Jon Musselman. I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, John. Thank you. To Durham Region next, where parents held a rally outside of Pickering Elementary School this morning.
They say they're concerned about how a threat against the school was handled. TV24's Courtney Hales was at the rally this morning speaking to parents and joins us live from Pickering to explain. Courtney.
That's right. This is William Dunbar Public School in Pickering. This morning, there were several parents outside of the school just before students were heading in, and they say they have concerns when it comes to safety here. There are several investigations underway through Durham Regional Police. Recently, there was a case here just last week, back on January the 27th. In that case, police say someone phoned in a threat to the school, and the call was made to put a hold and secure in place. Speaking with parents, they say they want transparency. They want to know exactly what happened in that case, but they also say they have concerns because kids were left alone in the classroom during that time. Here's more from people I talked to earlier.
There has been an escalation and a pattern of serious safety concerns in the school since December. And parents are getting very minimal information, very generic information. Decisions are being made, and we're getting that information after the fact. Our children come home and they know more in real time than we do as caregivers. So
what do you hear from the school or even the school board when you raise these concerns that there isn't enough transparency or communication?
Well, to be politically correct, I want to say that, I guess gently, I want to say that we feel like we've been ignored.
We've reached out to the Durham District School Board for comment on this to see what they're doing to try and address some of the safety concerns of parents. They say they recognize parents are concerned and they have questions. They also say there will be a review into how everything was handled last week. They said at one point there was a lockdown put in place, then it shifted into hold and secure. They also say there's not an awful lot the board can say when it comes to these investigations because it is in the hands of Durham Regional Police. Officers, meanwhile, say they are increasing their presence here outside of the school. We noticed police here first thing this morning. They've been driving around. They're stressing at this time there is no threat to public safety. Michelle, over to you.
Thank you, Courtney. A nuclear refurbishment at the Darlington power plant is now complete, and the unit will soon return to service. Energy Minister Stephen Lecce says the refurbishment is 4 months ahead of schedule and $150 million under budget. Refurbishing the Darlington nuclear generating station involved all 4 nuclear reactor units and extends the station's operating life to at least the year 2055.
Ontario's leadership at building on time and on budget is a unique value proposition. We are one of the few nuclear nations that deliver this sense of discipline and focus. These projects are going to create 150,000 jobs for Canada. Remember, this is a Canadian technology, Canadian fuels, Canadian workers, and we are leading the way. And so the world is turning to Ontario for our small modular reactors, for large-scale nuclear. We have a plan to build, to create jobs, and to get our economy going.
The province is also refurbishing units at the Pickering nuclear plant to extend its lifespan. To City Hall next, where the mayor has officially launched the 2026 budget.
A proposed version was released, but now council will get to debate the mayor's plan. CTV's Natalie Johnson joins us live from City Hall with the details. Natalie.
Hi, Nathan. That's right. You'll remember at the beginning of January, staff came out with their suggested budget for 2026. The shiny object in the window, if you will, was a 2.2% property tax increase. The public then had a chance to weigh in for several weeks, offering feedback on the spending plan. The mayor this morning officially unveiling her version of the budget, which does keep that 2.2% property tax hike intact. Some of the other big features of this budget include expanded student nutrition programs, a TTC fare freeze for the third consecutive year, expanded library hours, and something new in the mayor's budget revealed today was an additional 5% cut to small business taxes. The critics, however, are arguing that in order to balance the books with such a minimal inflationary tax increase, the mayor does need to withdraw from city's rainy day reserves. The mayor was asked this morning whether this is a spend now, pay later budget. Here's what she had to say to that.
No, they're not, because one thing they did not see is that because of our strong fiscal performance in the last 2 years, the City of Toronto credit rating for the first time in 23 years have gone up to AA+. What does that mean? It means that we are saving the city money.
Well, let's be clear. This is Mayor Chow's election budget, and she's hoping to buy Torontonians votes in the fall. She's also hoping that they forget about the record-breaking tax increases that she's thrust upon Torontonians over the course of the term. And I wish she would just be honest with people and acknowledge that this year's budget is going to come with a 10% tax hike next year, because that's what it's going to take to pay for these commitments.
Now that we know what Mayor Chow has in mind for this spending plan, council will get a chance to review this document and will debate it next week, being able to make some adjustments here or there. But it does look like 2.2% as a property tax hike is what is likely in store for Toronto for 2026. Reporting live, I'm Natalie Johnson. Nathan, back to you.
Thank you, Natalie. It's been over a week since that record-breaking snowstorm, and cyclists in the city are voicing frustrations about bike lanes still blocked by snow. Many say they've been forced to cycle on the street alongside cars because most bike lanes in the city are unrideable. Biking advocate and lawyer David Shelnut says the majority of the main bike lanes along Bloor, University and College are still covered with snow, adding many people rely on them for work and to safely get around.
We reached out by letter to Mayor Chow last week, and it's been crickets. Thankfully, we've got one or two good councillors in my area where I live that have helped with a few little spots. But across the board, bike lanes are basically unusable. You know, Doug Ford's bringing a court challenge to shut these things down. All he had to do was wait for winter in Toronto.
The parliamentary budget officer estimates the government's plan for GST relief is expected to cost $12.4 billion over 5 years. And that's higher than what the Liberals said it would be. This morning, the deputy leader of the Conservatives was asked if she's concerned about the cost of the measure.
There's no question that another $12 billion by the time this grocery rebate is complete. By the way, we had a federal budget less than 4 weeks ago. The ink is not even dry on that federal budget, and this is another $12 billion of unaccounted spending that is going to drive up the price. Every dollar spent by the federal government is a dollar out of the pockets of Canadians. And so we absolutely do have concerns about it. And those concerns are that the inflationary spending of the government is going to add more to grocery prices, add more to housing prices, add more to the unaffordability crisis that Canadians are feeling from coast to coast to coast.
Melissa Lantzman says the Conservatives will push for a debate on the issue in Parliament today. The Liberals promised measures to help lower-income Canadians deal with the high cost of groceries. It includes a 25% increase to the GST credit over the next 5 years. There's no word yet on how the government will pay for the affordability plans.
Now it's my turn. One of the companies competing for the contract to replace Canada's aging submarines is pulling out all the stops. It includes a plan to sail the vessel it wants to sell across the Pacific Ocean to Canada. CTV senior correspondent Judy Trin has the exclusive details.
The minister responsible for defense procurement, Stephen Ferry, paid a visit to Hanwha's shipyard today. Hanwha is pitching speed, but also alliances with more than 20 Canadian companies. Some of those CEOs joined the Secretary of State on this trip.
Because this has now evolved into a government-to-government situation. It's a big, big procurement. This is going to be a relationship with the winner for years, decades to come. It'll come down to who can present the best economic opportunity to Canada.
The Royal Canadian Navy wants to buy up to 12 new submarines. Fuhr checked out Hanwha's KSS-3 model that it wants to sell to Canada.
Put your hands up here.
Okay. Okay. CTV News was also given a tour, but we were not allowed to film because of security protocols. But we can tell you that the attack submarine can hold about 50 crew members and that it will have the ability to launch torpedoes and vertical missiles that can hit land targets. Using robotic technology, Hanwha can build a submarine within 6 years. It's technology Ontario Shipyards is interested in bringing to Canada.
I mean, what they do here is cutting edge. It's absolutely fantastic. If we can bring just a fraction of that to Canada, I think us as a country would be a lot further ahead in our shipbuilding endeavors.
The deadline for Hanwha and its German rival, TKMS, to submit their bids is March 2nd. In May, the Korean Navy plans to sail the KSS-3 to Canada to demonstrate the sub's ability. Judy Trin, CTV News, Changwon, South Korea.
We're learning more about a Canadian gunner killed in the line of duty last week in Latvia. The father of Sebastian Halmagian tells CTV News his son had dedicated his life to military service. 24-year-old Sebastian Halmagian of Hamilton had served in the military for nearly 3 years before he passed away. His father says his son was a proud member of the Canadian Armed Forces and that he loved every minute, and that it was Sebastian's childhood dream to serve since a young age.
Live next to Ottawa, CTV's Rachel Aiello was there to talk about Canada opening a new consulate in Greenland later this week. Rachel, this move, as we know, comes amid ongoing tension with the U.S. over Greenland. What more can you tell us about this?
Yeah, good afternoon. So later this week, we're going to see Canada's Governor General, Mary Simon, as well as Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand do this official opening of Canada's consulate, its first ever in the capital of Greenland. This is a move the federal government says it's making to increase Canada's presence in the Arctic, but also signal to other NATO allied countries that Canada wants to cooperate more on the Arctic, specifically around Arctic security. Now, of course, this is all coming amid U.S. President Donald Trump's increased focus on Greenland, his rhetoric ratcheting up and then easing off in terms of wanting to acquire Greenland by some capacity. Talk now of plans for a future deal on Greenland. So this has been in the works from the federal government for some time, but certainly the decision from Prime Minister Mark Carney to send his Foreign Affairs Minister as well as the Governor General to mark this grand opening is not coincidental.
Rachel, what kind of message do you think this will send specifically to U.S. President Donald Trump?
Yeah, I think it is worth noting that Canada has had plans to open a consulate in Greenland predating his threats. This is a commitment that the Liberals made back in 2024 as part of their Arctic foreign policy. But taking the step now because of Trump's heightened attention on Greenland and Canada pushing back that the future of Greenland needs to be decided by Denmark. It is a sovereign entity. It is certainly a notable moment for the federal government to make this step. But I do think really what the impetus is going to be and the focus we're likely to hear from Minister Anand when she does this official opening is that Canada is taking Arctic security seriously, which is meant to speak directly to the predominant threat or concern that U.S. President Donald Trump has had about what his rationale was for wanting to go into Greenland is Arctic security. So if other NATO countries can show they have an increased presence, increased importance, increased focus on Arctic security, is there a way for Donald Trump's concerns to be assuaged? So that is all I think at play here in the decision around the consulate.
Real quick before we let you go, walk us through. So what's expected to happen?
Yeah, so we're expecting there to be an official opening. The date exactly for that ceremony is not public yet, but we do know, based on local reporting, that the consulate itself is operational now, up and running. And this was actually supposed to be an opening that was set to happen in November, but was postponed due to bad weather. So things are clear. They're making their way up there. The Governor General has some travel in the region ahead of time, and then we'll see that official opening in a few days.
CTV's Rachel Aiello live for us in Ottawa. Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, for the third week in a row, a winter storm is hitting Atlantic Canada. Environment Canada expects strong winds, up to 50 centimeters of snow in some areas of eastern Newfoundland by tomorrow morning. Much of the rest of the province is forecast to get about half that, as well as high winds. Most of Nova Scotia is under winter storm warnings, and upwards of 25 centimeters of snow could fall there as well.
A separatist group in Alberta has confirmed it met with U.S. officials over the past year, but it won't say who was part of that meeting.
People in our meetings are going, direct.
Stephen Miller?
I'm not going to say. I mean,
Why not?
We're not, because we're not. We have an agreement with the people that we're meeting with.
The Alberta Prosperity Legal Council won't say which members of the Trump administration they've spoken with directly, but the meeting did not include the president. The group is now looking to create a feasibility study on how an independent Alberta would be able to fund itself. Separatists in the province need 178,000 signatures by May for their petition to proceed on a referendum on Alberta's independence.
Just days ahead of the start of the Olympics, travelers in Milan are dealing with a train strike.
I think it's part of life. Maybe the Olympics is a good opportunity for the train workers to really show their concerns and so on. So I think everything is valid.
Workers from a local train operating company are staging a one-day work stoppage today, just as travelers from around the country and around the world are converging on the city. The impact of the strike is being lessened somewhat by rules that ensure services are guaranteed during the busiest times of the day.
Meantime, a floating parade will kick off the 2026 Venice Carnival. A giant floating papier-mâché rat led the procession of boats and floats that wound their way through the city's canals on Sunday. The two-week festival has an Olympic theme, with the Winter Games set to start nearby on Friday. And in Rome, tourists visiting the Trevi Fountain are now going to pay more than just the coin toss over their shoulder. The city has imposed a $2.35 fee to get close to the fountain during prime-time daylight hours. The new measure is intended to decrease overcrowding in the area, stem petty crime, and protect the fountain. But the view for those admiring the late Baroque masterpiece from the piazza above remains free. Lindsay.
So we know that Wyerton Willie is predicting an early spring, but how did a few of the other groundhogs do? Let's head to Alberta, where it's been a pretty gentle winter so far. Balzac Willie there predicting 6 more weeks. As for Punxsutawney Phil, 6 more weeks of winter as well. This is the groundhog that perhaps most people refer to. And then it's worth pointing out that Shubenacadie Sam couldn't exactly come out today thanks to that big storm in Atlantic Canada, but Shubenacadie Sam predicting an early spring as well. It's going to feel slightly more like spring as we make our way through much of this week, but cold air returns for the weekend. We'll talk about that and which day you should prepare for the next round of snow here in southern Ontario. That's after this break here on CTV News at noon. We'll be right back.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
As we touched on before the break, today is February 2nd, also known as Groundhog Day. And as they do every year, crowds gathered in the Midwestern Ontario town of Wyerton this morning.
All to see if Wyerton Willie would predict 6 more weeks of winter or an early spring. Take a look.
It's an early spring.
Wyerton Willie did not see his shadow this morning, meaning he's predicting an early spring. Locals have been relying on Willie's predictions for more than 70 years. There have been a few Willies over those years. As Lindsay mentioned, all of Canada's weather predicting rodents agreed on the early spring call.
And it's not just rodents predicting the weather today. Toronto Zoo's polar bear Hansen tried his paw at prognosticating today. He was given 3 options: a late winter, going along with the Groundhog's prediction, or an early spring. He settled on the last option, all while taking some time to enjoy the show.
And it is official. Lucy does not see her shadow.
And this one's hilarious. While we're at it, one out of lobster. Lucy, the lobster, agreed with Canada's groundhogs, predicting an early start to spring as she launched the Nova Scotia Lobster Crawl. Lucy clawed her way into Groundhog Day back in 2018, adding a new twist to the Groundhog Day tradition.
What do you think?
I feel like she hates that hat.
Yeah, I think we should stick with the groundhogs.
Yeah, this day has become a little unhinged, wouldn't you say?
Well, we're deciding what's going to happen based on what all these creatures think.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. But it's funny because depending on where they are and what the weather is that day, it affects what they predict.
For sure. And I love Willie's prediction of an early spring. I will say it's very sunny out there today, so how Willie did not see the shadow, I'm not entirely sure, but we're going to roll with it. We need some hope, don't we? There's lots to be hopeful for this week. Temperatures are a little bit warmer than they were compared to last week, certainly, although don't get too comfortable because this upcoming weekend looks to be cold once again. Weather is brought to you by the Presler Law Firm, injury lawyers you don't pay unless they win. I do want to talk about the sunrise this morning happening just shortly after 7:30 a.m. Really interesting cloud deck creating a neat little view there as seen from our CTV News chopper. And there's a different view of it there out over Lake Ontario as well. I do want to also talk about the cold, not just here at home, but my goodness, it has been cold stateside the last week or so as well. How about Florida? Daytona Beach this morning, -2 degrees. And that's been a big story, the ongoing cold in the state of Florida. We'll bring it back a little bit closer to home. It's not as cold for us today here in southern Ontario. It was another pretty chilly start, but the afternoon does bring improvement. There's the sun that I mentioned. We do expect an increase in cloud cover as the day goes on, and then perhaps some flurries for the early evening and into the overnight hours. The storm, meanwhile, in Atlantic Canada, really impacting Newfoundland at this time. Nova Scotia seeing some snow as well. We've got the opportunity for some flurries as we make our way through the evening hours, but it shouldn't be anything too measurable over the next couple of days here. In fact, we're not really predicting any more accumulation here in southern Ontario, around the GTA, I should specify. Maybe a centimeter or 2, and all is looking pretty quiet outside of the GTA as well. Maybe another 5 centimeters over the next couple of days here in Owen Sound, an additional 3 centimeters in and around Huntsville. But major snow, not part of the story, at least not for the early part of this week. We're at -6 degrees right now, and what you see is what you get in Toronto. It also feels like -6 out there. -5 is our forecast daytime high for today, under mainly sunny skies before that increase in cloud cover happens. Here's the almanac. Seasonal norm for this time of year is -2 degrees, and we're going to inch closer to that as the week goes on. -9 for a low overnight tonight. There's tomorrow at a glance, -4 degrees. I think we'll take that. Chance of flurries mainly in the morning, but really throughout the day, just be aware of the possibility of a few flakes flying. Mix of sun and cloud for Wednesday. Thursday, a bit more in the way of cloud cover. Temperatures remaining close to seasonal, not quite there, but we'll take it. Next snow looks like it could be Thursday night and into Friday morning, and then it's cold again for next weekend. That's your look at the weather. Nathan and Michelle, back to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Next, we check in with CTV's Jessica Smith, who's live this noon hour in the Upper Beach. And Jess, you're showcasing, I wonder who you have there with you. You're at a unique thrift shop that helps others. Oh, those are some sharp boots.
Sharp boots for a great cause. And you know what? When you can come and do some shopping, but it also goes right back into your community to help people out, it has that kind of double bonus to it. I'm joined by Spencer with Eagle Feather Vintage. Talk to me about this really unique kind of setup you guys have where people can come, purchase pre-loved, pre-owned items of a different variety, and all that money goes back to help people in our community experiencing homelessness. How did that all kind of come about?
So I started by just selling my own items and using the money to buy things for the community, like Tim Hortons cards, stuff like that. And then I basically just used my love of vintage shopping to buy things that are cool for a cheap price and then resell them and use all the money to buy jogging pants and things like that for the community.
And I know you were working with a really unique kind of charity to help give that proceed back and to help people kind of get on to that next step of their life and have something fun. What's the church or what's the charity you guys are connected to?
So I donate directly to Holy Trinity, the church behind the Eaton Center. Most people don't know it until I say that. Yeah, they are amazing, and they run, like, they have a kitchen that runs out, and they see about 200 people a day. So they have set up like clothing racks and stuff that I've helped them get together, and yeah, it's been amazing. Community loves it.
And what's the best way for folks to donate or get a hold of you guys if they want to drop stuff off so it can be purchased, so that proceeds can go right back into helping purchase things for people using a Holy Trinity?
So you can either email me or Instagram Eagle Feather Vintage, or you can come here to Boneyard Thrift. Saturdays 12 to 4 we're here, and you can drop off whatever you like, and I will personally sort through it and make sure that it gets where it needs to go, and that anything that's sellable gets put up on the racks.
Well, Spencer, thank you so much. You can come down, check it out, purchase whatever you need, and it all goes to help those in our community experiencing homelessness. I'll send things back inside to the studio.
All right, great cause. Thank you, Jess. After the break, their son is just days away from heading to space. We sat down with the proud parents of Canadian astronaut Jeremy Hansen to see how they're feeling ahead of the mission. Stay with us. We're just days away from Super Bowl Sunday, and football fans are eager to see who will come out on top between the New England Patriots and Seattle Seahawks.
Whether you're hoping to win your fantasy league or you're just a casual fan, this year you might want to pay especially close attention to what happens on fourth down. CTV science and tech specialist Dan Riskin is here with some specific scientific evidence that coaches need to be a little more bold.
Yeah.
Why is that?
They're playing it too safe. So there's this nice analysis that came out this year looking at about a decade of NFL games. And they ran the odds for how often, you know, you've got 3 yards to go, 4 yards to go, whatever it is. Do you gamble and try to get that first down, or do you kick? And what they found is that if you look at the odds, coaches aren't doing it the way they should. They're being too safe. Too often when the odds are in their favor, they kick anyway. And so what the researchers did is they reversed the analysis, and they said, okay, well, if coaches aren't trying to optimize winning the game, what are they optimizing? And what they found is the way that coaches behave in making those decisions reflects an aversion, avoiding the worst case scenario. So they really don't want to have an embarrassing loss. And by playing it safe, they avoid giving the ball up on their own 10-yard line and being the laughingstock the next morning.
So instead of playing not to lose, play to win. Is what
yeah, well, I mean, I guess we'll see. Super Bowl maybe is a different thing. Maybe people will reward those gambles a little bit more favorably. But it's always tough the day after a game when everybody's picking apart your decisions. But in the moment, you've got to make that call. I wouldn't want to be a coach, but it's fun to sit on the sidelines and tell them how to do their job.
I can't wait to watch. So from the field to the future, a new study is saying that AI is beating the average human when it comes to creativity.
This is so interesting. So there's this standardized test that literally 100,000 people have taken. And so there's a huge data set of people. And what they do for the people is they say, come up with a list of 10 words that are as different from each other as possible. So if your list included car and truck, you wouldn't do very well. But if it was car and Paisley, maybe you would do a little better. And so you come up with your 10 words, and you get a score for how creative it is. Then they gave the same task to AI bots, a whole bunch of different ones. And most of them don't do as well as the average person, but some do. In GPT-4, the average score from GPT-4 is higher than the average score for humans, which is interesting. But I will say, the best humans, the humans that are in the top 10%, the Lady Gagas of the world, they crush the AI. They're still way better. So this sort of goes back to this thing about AI that we're learning, which is that you can use AI to help you come up to average. If you're not good at something, AI will help you do an average job at it and make you better that way. But if you're really good at something, don't expect AI to boost your performance. It doesn't make the best better.
All right.
Still a bit unsettling that AI can do creativity. For the longest time, I thought, well, they can't be creative.
I know.
That's a human thing.
It's totally true, but I've often found that if I'm trying to like come up with a catchy title for a news story, or I'm trying to just brainstorm an idea, something funny, sometimes I can get the juices flowing by having a conversation with AI, but ultimately I like to be the one that comes up with the last idea.
Good point, the tool. Okay, we got to talk about this last topic, grandparents, and that there may be a health benefit to grandparents looking after their grandchildren. And we're talking about a brain boost.
A brain boost for the grandparents. So, I mean, obviously it's good for the kids. Obviously it's great for the parents who have the grandparents swoop in and take care of the kids for you. Thank you, Grandma and Grandpa. But this is a boost for the grandparents themselves. So this is a study looking at a bunch of grandparents in the UK, some of whom are involved in the lives of their grandkids and some of whom aren't, and comparing their cognitive performance. And the grandparents that spend regular time with their grandkids score higher on these cognitive tests, and those extend well into later life after the early years of those kids. And so if, you know, Michelle, if you're saying to your parents, can you just help out with the kids? I'm doing you a favor. You've got a new angle you can use to try to convince them to take care of the kids so you can go out and have a good time watching the Super Bowl.
Oh, I'm going to do this. And then they can give them back, right? You can always give them back, get your brain boost, and then move on.
That study makes sense. All right, CTV science and tech expert Dan Riskin, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Well, more scientific news. The clock is ticking on a mission that will be truly out of this world, weather permitting. 1 week from now, Canadian astronaut Jeremy Hansen will be on a trip that will take him around the moon.
CTV's Jon Woodward spoke with Hansen's parents, who live in southwestern Ontario, and say they're both excited and nervous as they prepare for blastoff.
So this is Orion Jeremy spacecraft, and he's going to be up in there for the launch. So pretty amazing.
Jeremy Hansen's parents are excited to finally see their son climb into the top of this rocket and blast off towards the moon.
I'm Jeremy Hansen.
What has long been his dream.
This is when we took him when he was in kindergarten.
Mom and Dad happily showing us pictures of Hansen as a space-obsessed kid here at age 6 during a visit to the Kennedy Space Center. On his first day of school, he carried a Star Wars lunchbox.
So this one is Happy Birthday from Space.
And check out the cake Mom made him when he turned 7, featuring Martians and a moon made of icing. And now their only child, who just turned 50, is set to boldly go deeper into space than anyone's gone before.
We're so happy that Jeremy's going to finally live out his dream. But we're also very nervous.
Hansen and 3 American astronauts hope to board NASA's Artemis rocket as early as next Sunday, then head off on a 10-day voyage, slingshotting around the moon. The rocket is set to undergo a critical fueling test this coming week, with Hansen aiming to be the first non-American ever to leave low Earth orbit.
I think it'll be a proud moment for the whole country.
Mom and Dad are heading to Florida ahead of the possible launch. They say it's something Hansen's wanted to do since he was 5 and came across an encyclopedia entry about Neil Armstrong on the moon.
Then he went out that night and looked up the moon, then he was thinking, I could go up there.
And he came out that day and said, I'm going to be an astronaut. We didn't think he would.
On the Ontario farm where they lived, Hansen converted the treehouse into a spaceship.
He had some old breakers, you know, with the switches.
Like, make it look like it was like controls and everything. Very imaginative.
They say they know the mission has its risks, given the rocket and capsule, which are new, have never carried people before. Mom putting it bluntly.
He might not come back.
But she says she has a lot of confidence and trust in NASA.
Some people think it's just another launch. But when your child's on that launch, it's different.
Proud parents hoping to soon see their son turn a childhood fantasy into reality. Jon Woodward, CTV News, Ingersoll, Ontario.
Get Toronto's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
Music's biggest night was held in Los Angeles last night with the 68th annual Grammy Awards.
As CTV's Andrea Case tells us, while the focus was on the artists and the awards, there was also plenty of attention on events happening across the U.S.
Four-time Grammy nominee Justin Bieber seemingly serenaded his wife Hailey Bieber in what host Trevor Noah called a captivating performance. This was Noah's 6th and final turn as host.
I believe in term limits. Yeah, I wanted to set an example for anyone who might be watching the show. You know, just leave when your time is up.
And there were more messages to anyone listening in the White House.
Bad morning!
The Puerto Rican superstar is set to perform at next week's Super Bowl and as such was not allowed to perform on the Grammy stage.
I'm gonna say, eyes out.
He used the platform to send a strong message.
We're not savage, we're not animals, we're not aliens, we are humans and we are Americans. The hate get more powerful with more hate. The only thing that is more powerful than hate is love.
He wasn't alone. Best New Artist winner, Olivia Dean.
I'm up here as a granddaughter of an immigrant. I wouldn't be here. I'm a product of bravery, and I think those people deserve to be celebrated. So yeah, we're nothing without each other. Thank you so much. I love you. Thank you so much. Bye.
A number of those in attendance wore Ice Out pins, including Song of the Year winners Phineas and Billie Eilish.
No one is illegal on stolen land. I feel like we just need to keep fighting and speaking up and protesting, and our voices really do matter and the people matter.
Well, that was CTV's Andrea Case, and this is the work of Justin Gray. The Toronto man is a music professor at Humber Polytechnic, and as of last night, he's a Grammy winner. Gray won the Grammy for Best Immersive Album. Not only is he the first Canadian to win in that category, he's the first to ever be nominated. Congrats to him.
It's just a feeling of gratitude. I had never been to the Grammys before, and the premiere ceremony, it is huge. Like, there are a lot of people in that room. The pace is like really high, so the energy's up. And I don't know, once the category came on, I just was breathing deep, because, you just kind of want to prepare yourself for whatever comes. And it was a little bit of a blur, but just so much gratitude, just a lot of joy.
And Justin Gray worked with 38 artists from Toronto to create his Grammy-winning work titled Immersed.
Coming up on CTV News at noon, meet the Canadian ferry captain who's taking his love of the sea to the canvas, creating masterpieces of not just the scenery, but the vessels themselves.
For people in British Columbia, the extensive ferry system that connects Metro Vancouver to the islands off the coast is a rite of passage.
But as CTV's Andrew Johnson shows us, for one man, it's much more. It's a metaphor for the beauty he sees all around us in the country he now feels fortunate to call home.
When Mayank Rahani and his wife first laid eyes on Canada's west coast, it was love at first sight.
When you look at those mountains, the waves, the sea, the whales, it gives me pleasure.
A visual feast the BC Ferry's captain gratefully devours daily as he proudly pilots the ships that move thousands of people between Metro Vancouver and Vancouver Island.
As a captain, when I drive these boats, I feel full length of the vessel behind me.
For some in BC, the ferries are a way to get from point A to point B and nothing more. Complaining about cancellations and delays is a popular West Coast pastime. Rahani sees the service very differently.
It's not only a means of transportation, it's spreading of different kind of emotions and love.
So he's pouring out that emotion with paint, capturing the beauty he sees and the love he feels for the fleet.
I thought, why not paint every vessel and write a story on it? The history of the vessel, how they have served different communities and people, and how beautiful they look.
Fittingly, we needed to take a trip on the ferry from Vancouver to meet Rahani. This vessel is the Queen of Cowichan, which he has painted, but there are 30 more boats in the BC Ferry's fleet, one of the world's largest, still on his to-do list. Several of Rahani's paintings are now displayed on ferries. Others are posted on his website and Captain's Easel social media account. He has also branched out to painting portraits of his colleagues and telling their stories. Rahani's story, that of an immigrant who traded New Delhi for Nanaimo, BC to make a home and start a family, is one of gratitude and putting life in perspective.
The biggest thing is how positively you see your life, how you help different people, how you help your community, and how you move forward. This is the main goal of my life.
A goal he is working on one brushstroke and one ferry sailing at a time. Andrew Johnson, CTV News, Nanaimo, BC.
We want to update you on that developing story from Union Station. The CTV News chopper was over the track showing a derailed GO train that is causing significant travel delays. There are longer than normal wait times for the Up Express, delays and cancellations on some GO lines, and the TTC says it is in touch with Metrolinx to determine what effect this will have on the afternoon rush. We'll have more on all of this afternoon if you check in with CP24 and tonight on CTV News at 5 and 6.
All right, to the forecast, so still below seasonal, but closer to seasonal.
Yeah, I think we'll take it. Highs of -4, -5 degrees sound a lot better than what we were dealing with last week. And there is a chance of a few flurries as we make our way into the evening hours tonight, but nothing measurable. Here's your overnight at a glance, -9 degrees. It's going to feel more like -14. And into tomorrow morning, it'll be a similar wind chill, but daytime high tomorrow, -4 degrees, maybe a little more in the way of cloud at times, chance of flurries as well. Overall, this is a pretty calm and quiet looking 7-day forecast. But again, heads up Thursday night into Friday, the possibility of snow. Nathan and Michelle.
All right. Thank you, Lindsay. And that's it for CTV News at noon. Remember, you can get Toronto's breaking news all day long on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and the whole team here, have a pleasant afternoon. I'm Michelle Dubé.
And I'm Nathan Downer. Be sure to join us later for CTV News at 5 and 6. Have a great day.